All right, I am now live. Again, I haven't done this in so long on these different platforms that I'd actually forgotten how to go live. How silly of me. I had to go live on Facebook on its own, and then I went, hang on a second, I can actually go live on multiple platforms at the same time. So here I am. Hi everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful start to the week. I hope you're having a wonderful January. Can you believe we are already at the end of January, which is just insane. So a big hello to everyone. Hello, Kurt at work. Don't know if you're at work or not, Kurt, but hello. Good to see you all. And it's wonderful to see you, Carlos. We've got lots of different people joining from all over the place. Hello. Hi. Good to see you. Hello, Javier. Hello. Love seeing all the hellos come in. I'm just going to show some love to Kurt at work here. Where's Kurt at work? There you are. Look at that. I can pop comments on now and click. There you go. There's people saying hello. Hi, everyone. Hey, good to see you all. I am super excited to do this Q&A. I just wanted to jump on, do a bit of Q&A with you all and just connect long form, right? I think it's so easy to get stuck in short form content. And I know it's what works on all the social media platforms, but I find being able to have long form conversations with people allow us to deepen that connection a little more, as opposed to just these quick, highly edited 15-second bites. I just wanted to do a little Q&A. And hi to everyone joining via LinkedIn. G'day, Twin. We've got Mina. We've got Nabel. We've got Jacqueline. Catherine. Hi. Thanks for joining on LinkedIn. I can see which platforms you're joining in from, which is super lovely. Hey, drop some comments and drop some questions in the chat. Let's do a bit of Q&A. But before I dive into the Q&A, just wanted to quickly say that if you're new to my content, I'm running a free 2-hour masterclass on Zoom for communication skills. So if communication skills is something you want to improve in 2024, then join me. The link is just in the description to be able to join my free masterclass that I'm running later this week. So check it out. David says, David's got a question here. Let's show David's question. David says, Vin, how often do you do these lives? Well, at the moment, I have not done them in about 2+ years. So this is the first one I've done in 2+ years on these platforms. It's really easy to go live on Instagram. So I tend to go live a number of times throughout the year on Instagram. However, on these particular platforms, I completely forget. And oh, thank you. Look at this. Someone just did a super duper. I think they call them super dupers on YouTube. So thanks for the love, Arjun. Thanks for being a massive fan. Lots of love to you, mate. Thank you. That's so kind of you. All right, jumping into some of the questions. All right, here we go. Here's a question from Shooter Guy. G'day, Shooter Guy. Shooter Guy says, do you have tips for continuing conversations or coming up with questions if there's a lull in the conversation? Shooter Guy, I think the important thing to do here when you find that there are lulls is, first of all, understanding the definition of luck. I'm going to connect this for you. Luck is what? The definition of luck is when preparation meets opportunity, right? So the answer to that is you need to be prepared with questions. You don't want to be thinking of questions in the moment, whereas you can do that, but you can do that when you're better at communication skills. When you're first starting out with communication skills, make sure you've got 10 questions in your back pocket ready to go, right? So I've always got questions in the back of my head ready to go. I can give you a couple of mine. So for example, anytime I notice there's a lull in a conversation potentially, I always love to ask people, hey, have you seen any good movies lately? Because that's one of my favorite pastimes. Or, hey, have you played any good games? That's another one of my favorite pastimes. Another one is, hey, what's the most delicious meal you've had in the last month? Because again, I love food and I want to know where's the best place to be able to eat something yummy. So again, just be prepared with a list of 10 go-to questions. And anytime there's a lull in a conversation and you want to liven it up, boom, go to one of the go-tos. That's what I do. All right. Now, here we go. We've got a question from Mary. Mary, it depends on your level of passion, right? So Mary's question is, Vin, what's the best way to breathe when you speak? When you're speaking to people, often you're mouth breathing, right? Because we need to take quick breaths and you can breathe through your mouth a lot quicker than you can breathe through your nose. Now, breathing through your mouth all the time isn't a good thing because when you do mouth breathing, what it does is it dries out your vocal cords, Whereas when you breathe in with your nose, the air that goes through your nasal passage, it moistens the air, which then kind of keeps your vocal cords moist. So you've got to think about when you're not talking, nose breathe as often as you can. Whereas I find a lot of the times when people aren't talking to people, sometimes they're sitting at the desk and they're still mouth breathing. That doesn't protect your vocal cords. So again, I would say when you're talking, people tend to mouth breathe because we're taking air in and out quickly. Whereas when you're not talking, just be conscious of that and engage in nose breathing more often. That way it protects your vocal cords. It protects the sound that you're able to make. All right. Here's an interesting question. Oh no, it disappeared. Oh, here we go. No, it's back. All right. Joshua says, how do you show a positive vibe? Joshua, do you think I'm showing a positive vibe right now? Do you? If you do think, Joshua, that I am providing a positive vibe, the reason you're perceiving it to be positive, I like to think that I am, is because of my melody. Listen to the melody that exists in my voice right now, right? It sounds like I'm upbeat, sounds like I'm energetic, sounds like I'm positive, right? There's a sound to positive, and there's also a sound to negative. So if I change the way I sound and I change my melody sequence, I could also sound like this, right? This is a mixture of melody. This is a mixture of volume. It's also a combination of facial expressions, eye contact, and if I sound like this, then all of you are thinking, Vin, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's happened to you? That's just me changing the way I communicate. Whereas I think a lot of the times people aren't conscious of these different behaviors. And then all of a sudden, they just talk like that because they think, oh, I don't need to put any effort into the way I communicate. But then what they don't realize that they're doing is they're creating this ripple of negativity. Because when you're around someone who speaks like that, it unfortunately impacts you and how you feel. And hopefully while you're watching me speak right now, you're going, oh, I'm feeling good. I'm getting some good vibes. And that's why we use the term vibes, because it's a form of vibration. Because of the way I'm speaking, because of the melody and volume and tempo, all of this is creating vibrations that's causing you to feel a certain way. It's almost physics. It's a physical thing that's happening. Whereas if I slump back down and, I guess I'm having a good day. I don't know. When you talk like that, it causes the people around you to feel really lethargic and not good. So it's very powerful. That's why I say to others, communication is more powerful than you think, because your communication is impacting people that you don't even know. For example, if I use my voice in a certain way, I can impact my team members in my office a certain way. Then they're going to go home and that's going to have an impact on the way they talk to their families. And then their families might go out that day to go grocery shopping and it impacts the way they treat those people, right? So we create these wonderful ripples wherever we go. And if you're not focused on improving your communication skills, then you may be going around causing yucky, terrible ripples. And we don't really want to be doing that, do we? We want to send a lot of love, positivity, and kindness out there, not the other way around. All right. Hello, Heather. Thanks for jumping on, Heather. Lots of love to Heather, tuning in all the way from New Orleans. Hey, Heather. Lots of people jumping on here. Hey, just wanted to quickly shout out, if you're new to my content, welcome, and thank you for being a part of my journey. I just wanted to share that I'm running a free masterclass later this week. So if you want to join me for a free masterclass, come join me. I'd love to have you. Just click the link in the description and you'll be able to get the link to be able to register for my masterclass that I'm running later this week. So check it out. Thank you. Thanks, Cherubim. Thanks for the love there, my friend. Just wanted to shout you out there, give you some love. I appreciate you. We've got someone joining all the way from the north of Boston. Hello, Shannon. Thanks for jumping on. We've got some people joining from Kansas. Hey, Kansas, I got to tell you, you have the best steak in the world. I remember being in Kansas and having a steak there, and I was offended at how good that steak was. It was absolutely unbelievable, Caden. So, mate, go out this weekend and have a steak and just know how lucky you are to be able to have that amazing steak at your fingertips. Hey, a little bit of love to LinkedIn as well. Hey, Mustafa, thank you for the kind words. I appreciate you. All right, I'm going to jump back into another question here. Right, let's have a look here. I can see one here from YouTube. Manib says, "Hey Vin, love your content." Thank you, Manib. Appreciate you. Working hard on removing audio and visual clutter from my communication skills, and he's already helped me a lot. Question: can you go over how you prepare for a presentation? Oh, Manib, this is a big one. I follow a 7-step process for rehearsal. It would take me it would take me 30 minutes to go through the entire thing. So I'm going to share with you the first step, which I think is the most important, and most people go wrong here. The first step is to do a table read. And what is a table read, you ask? A table read is where you take your presentation, print it out, and you read it as if you're giving the presentation. This is where most people go wrong, because most people, when they rehearse, this is how they rehearse. They do this, okay? They go, "Okay, hi, everyone's really good to be here. And I'm going to talk about..." And that's how they rehearse. How you rehearse is how you're going to present. How you rehearse is how you're going to deliver the content. So what you want to do is you want to rehearse out loud as if people are there. So when you're rehearsing, you want to read it like this. "Hey everyone, great to see you all. Thanks for joining me for the live session that I'm doing. Hey, I'm super excited to jump into how you can build your personal brand." Notice how I'm reading it? I'm reading it as if people are in the room. And when you read it in this way, the people around you in your house might think you're being a little bit weird and over dramatic. But trust me, that high level of energy that you put into rehearsing, when you put in high levels of energy during rehearsal, that's going to equate to high levels of retention. When you put low levels of energy into rehearsal, that's going to equate to low levels of retention. So if you did a table read like that 10 times, because you've put lots of energy into it, it actually leads to better retention rates. And if you just did 10 table reads of your talk, you're going to be shocked at how much of your talk you actually remember. And already I can tell you step 1 of rehearsal is where most people go wrong. So there you go. I hope that helps. All right. Jumping down to some of the comments here. We've got people joining us from Vietnam. Hey, Lee, good to see you. We've got, oh, wow, we've got someone from, I'm going to say this wrong, Guatemala. Thanks, Cindy. Thanks for joining all the way from Guatemala. Thank you for joining me. Love this. Just seeing the comments. Hey, Los Angeles. Did you may not know this. I used to live in LA. I was there for a good I lived in Southern California for a good 4 or 5 years. It was such a good time. I miss it immensely. I do miss the US a lot. It's a very inspiring place, you know. I grew up in a small city here in South Australia, Adelaide, and I got to tell you this as well. I mean, I love my country. I love Australia. I love my hometown. It's why I decided to move back to my hometown, right? But the thing is, I got to tell you, one of the things that I love about America is that American dream, that spirit that you all have in the US. I love that because over here, I remember growing up and having some big audacious dreams. And anytime I would share some of these dreams, when I share it with people, I can, maybe sometimes people don't say negative things to me. And at times they do. They kind of say, "Oh, that's crazy, man. That's crazy." But more than this, it's even in the small things that people do. When I share with them my dreams, I can see sometimes in their facial expressions where they're like, "Really? Do you really think you're going to be able to achieve that?" And sometimes it's just within a look that they give for a brief second that demoralizes me. But the big difference, when I was in America and I would share with people my dreams, I'd never see that look in their faces. I'd always hear them go, "Yeah, man, that's awesome. That's an awesome dream." And then they would go and tell me about their dreams. And I'd have these conversations in the most obscure places. I'd be in an Uber, right? And I'd be talking about what I do. And then before I know it, they're talking about their dreams, about how they want to do this and that. And I just loved that energy. I loved being around that. And I got to tell you, I really miss that. Now being home back in Adelaide, I really miss that beautiful energy. And it's actually why I've been reaching out to a few of my heroes on social media. I've reached out actually in the last couple of weeks. I kind of went, you know what? Instead of complaining about missing out on that energy and wanting some of those vibes, I've reached out to a few of my heroes in the US and hopefully they reply. One of them has already replied, which is pretty crazy. And I just want to get onto some calls with them, space these calls out. I think we underestimate the importance of being inspired. I think we really do. I think I sometimes forget the importance of being inspired, because when you're inspired, you live different. The way you move through your day is different. You're more intentional. You move with a little more zest. Whereas it's easy, I think, in life sometimes to fall into a slump of monotony, and it's easy to fall into those traps. And I want to stay inspired. And for me, one of the ways in which I can stay inspired is by reading, but more than that, by meeting people. So I've made a conscious effort. I've been reaching out to a few of my heroes. One of them's already responded. I'm going to set up a call and connect with them, because don't wait until inspiration knocks on your door. Go hunt it down. Yeah, go stalk it. Go stalk it down. All right, I'm jumping to the questions. Here we go. We got a question here. This is from Jar. Jar says, "Hey, Vin, been recording myself for 5 minutes every day for 2 weeks, and now the nerves are pretty much gone." Well done, Jar. Well done. But struggling to push my voice out of my comfort zone. Any tips? P.S. Thanks for everything. Hey, much love, Jar. Much love. Well, Jar, if you haven't already, make sure you join me for my free masterclass. I'm running a free masterclass at the end of this week. And if you're new to my content, make sure you come check that out, because I'm going to share with you some other strategies on how you can push yourself out of your comfort zone. But I'll share with you some now, Jar. The way we currently speak, it's a set of behaviors. And you've just gotten really used to the behaviors that you currently exhibit to create the sound that you currently make. And what you're actually doing when you're trying to improve the way you communicate is you're undergoing a process of behavioral change. And one of the most important things is that we love to do what feels comfortable. And if you want to change the way you sound and make a different sound, you're going to have to do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. So you have to recognize that, okay, for me to actually change the way I communicate, I'm going to have to do something that makes me feel uncomfortable. And I think that mindset you first have to accept, and you first have to acknowledge that you're going to have to continuously do something that makes you feel uncomfortable every single day. And if you don't make that mental leap and you don't cognitively process that, then anytime something feels uncomfortable, you just go back to doing what feels comfortable. And you'll be like, I don't want to make that sound. I don't want to go that high pitch. I don't want to do that. And if you don't allow yourself to do that and play, then you'll never sound different. You'll always revert back to sounding the way you sound your entire life. It's one of the interesting reasons as to why, if you look at the people around you, heck, you might even look at your own life and you go, hey, how did I sound 10 years ago? How did I sound 10 years before that? And what you'll notice is, for a lot of people, their sound never changes. It doesn't, which is quite unfortunate, right? Because we always want to improve. We want to improve our bodies. We want to improve our mind. And what does that mean? It means our body and our mind has to go and undergo change. Same thing with your voice. You can actually change the way you sound. You can. When I listen back to myself from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I can hear definite shifts in the way that I sound, because it's something you can consciously work on. Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. So it's kind of crazy. Big hello. If you've just joined me live, welcome. Thanks for joining me in my world and being a part of this madness. I see a lot of people wanting to join the masterclass. If you want to join the masterclass, I'm seeing people type masterclass. I did leave a link in the chat as well. So just click the link in the chat and you'll be able to join me for a free masterclass I'm running later this week. I'd love to have you. All right. I've got an interesting question here from Zaina. Zaina says, I use a lot of emotional intelligence in the way I communicate and connect with others. Can you relate to this? Absolutely. Zaina, I think that's one of the most important skill sets alongside communication skills is emotional intelligence. I think for a lot of people, EQ is difficult. And I think one of the best ways to practice emotional intelligence is actually through listening. Because when you listen to other people more, then you can start to not only listen with your ears, you can listen with your heart, you can listen with your mind, and you can also listen with your eyes. So we can listen in so many different ways. And I think when we truly sit down and start to listen to someone, then you start to notice vocal cues, you start to notice visual cues, you start to notice the way people are structuring their sentences, you start to notice the specific words that people are choosing to use over others. And then as you start to really tune in on all of these different areas as you listen, I think that's what helps you become more emotionally intelligent. Because when you start to do that, you become more situationally aware. You start to go, oh, what I just said caused this person to sound more hurt. And I can see the hurt in their facial expressions. Wow, I can hear the hurt in the way they're responding to me. Maybe they didn't say they were hurt, but because I was paying attention and listening, I recognize that hurt. Okay, I'm going to apologize. Even though they're not asking me to do that, I can immediately at this point go, hey, I can see that what I said caused you a bit of discomfort and even hurt your feelings a little bit. Hey, I wanted to say that I'm sorry. I didn't mean for it to hurt you. And if you can do this, this is next level communication skills. Whereas most people, they don't have EQ. They don't have that situational awareness. They're hurting people, but they don't even realize it. And then they just keep talking and they go about their day and they think they're a bloody legend and they don't realize that they've actually hurt somebody's feelings. So to me, EQ, Zaina, is such an OP. It's if you got good emotional intelligence, it's like you've got a cheat code in life. Very powerful. It's something I definitely want to teach in the future as well, because it's something I've worked on in my life for years and years and years. It's allowed me to really build great relationships in my life. And I mean, I saw one of the questions pop up, but it's disappeared already, unfortunately. One of the questions that was asked was, Vin, how are you positive? How are you so positive? And I can tell you right now, I've journaled on this and I know why. I'm a really positive person because I have lots of positive things happening in my life. I have lots of positive relationships in my life. I do. All of the main relationships I have in my life that are important to me are really positive. There's no negativity there. And how did I build them? Well, through communication skills. It's through my ability to communicate with those that I love that has allowed me to foster really positive and nourishing relationships. And because no matter where I turn, no matter who I spend time with, all those relationships are positive. Even I've got a painter who's at my house right now. I've got a really positive relationship with him. So when I see him, good vibes. When I see Dan, who's in the back there, who's one of my team members, who's waving at you all, when I meet with Dan, I really invest into this relationship. So when I meet with Dan, good vibes. When I meet with my wife, I invest heavily into that relationship, good vibes. I invest into the relationship with my son, good vibes. So I think when you start to nourish the relationships around you and you invest in them by investing in your own ability to communicate effectively, when you start to do this and all the relationships around you are positive and nourishing, then how can you not be positive? Right? So much of my positivity comes from the wonderful relationships that I have in my life. And at the core of it, what skill do we use? We use the skill of communication. G'day, Dan. Dan said hello in the chat there. Hello, Dan. I've got a Dan in the office here too. G'day, Cord. Good to see you. Hello. Just looking at some of the chat, just going to shout some of you out here. Wow, we got someone from the Encyclopedia of Magic Days. G'day, Sam. Nice to have you. And a big hello to those of you who are just joining. Welcome to the live. Thanks for hanging out with me as we do a bit of a chin wag, hang out, have a bit of a conversation together. Here's an interesting question by Controlli. Controlli says, Vin, what do you think about the natural melody that some languages have? Interesting. You're right. Different languages do have natural melodies within them. Well, what I think is, and it's not good or bad, it's very neutral. I think that what we want with melody is we want variety, right? Because if I stick to the same rhythm, let's say that for example, I stick to the same melody here in the Australian language, and I just say, "Hi, how you going? Good to have you." No, let me try that again. Hi, how you going? Yeah, good, thanks. Yeah, that's what I want to do. What about you? What are you going to do? And if I just keep following that same rhythmic melody and I don't change from that melody, then I think after a while it becomes boring to listen to. Whereas if I'm changing my melody and I'm keeping you guessing and you don't know where I'm going with what I'm doing, then all of a sudden this becomes more engaging to listen to, as opposed to, you know, that the one that I always go to is the one that most of you can connect with. And it's when you walk into a clothing store, when you walk into any retail store, what do they do? They use this melody on you. Hi, can I help you? Is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything you'd like help with? Would you like assistance with anything? And if I keep hearing that same melody and rhythm over and over and over again, it's going to make me go crazy because I teach this and I'm super and hyper aware of these things. Yeah. So I think regardless of the melody that exists in different languages, different cultures, different countries, I think the important thing to take away here is variety is key. Because when you've got more variety, you'll be able to engage others more. Thanks for the question. Let me look here in the chat. Interesting question from Ronish. I'll jump to this question in just a moment. And look at your profile photo, you handsome bugger. That looks fantastic. Look at that. You look like you were born in the early 1900s. I love how sophisticated and classic that looks. Before I answer your question about the book, I would love to invite you if you're new. I know a lot of people just joined us via the live stream. I'd love to invite you to a 2-hour free masterclass that I'm running later this week. The link is in the description. Just click that. Join me. If you want to improve your communication skills and want to kickstart your journey, come join me. I'd love to have you. Now, with this particular question, Vin, any plans on writing a book? Publishers are knocking on my door nonstop. I'm getting emails almost weekly now from publishers saying, hey, Vin, have you thought about writing a book? Have you thought about writing a book? And I definitely have. I've definitely thought about it. And I'm in the process of mapping out the book right now. And I'm doing this with my book coach. I've got a book coach. Shout out to Rochelle. She's amazing. She's helping me shape my entire book. So we are in the process of that, and I'm super excited about it. I'm really hoping that this year I'm going to better have more time to be able to write. And I'm excited about the process. So thank you for asking. Hey, we got Siran from Indonesia. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining the live stream. Someone just said, hello, everyone. Hello back to you. Hello. I'm going to look for some of the questions on here. Thanks for joining, everyone. Thanks for jumping on the live stream. Really appreciate it. Oh, look at this. Look at this love that I'm getting. Look at that love. Oh, I clicked the wrong one. There's love in this one too, but thank you. Thanks, champion. I noticed that you've got League of Legends in your profile picture. I love that game. Such a good game. But hey, if you've got any questions, leave me the questions in the chat. I would love to be able to answer them, connect with you. If you've got any particular questions, please leave it in the chat. Something I want to share with you that I've been thinking a lot about. One thing that I've done this year that has just really made me feel excited is reading books in areas that I have pretty much zero knowledge in. So I've started reading a lot of books about mathematics and books on physics and science in general. And what's been really exciting is I'll read a chapter from this book and then I'll stop because I ordered like 20 books and I'm just so excited to read them. So I'm reading one chapter from this book or 2 chapters, and then I jump into this book and I read another couple of chapters. Then I jump into another book and then read another 3 chapters. And I'm just jumping between all these different books. And it's really reignited my love for reading. Because the way that I used to read books back then is I create rules for myself. So when I get a book, I'm like, no, Vin, you have to finish this book from front to back, start from chapter 1, then chapter 2. You can't skip around. What are you, a rebel? And then I just thought to myself at the beginning of this year, why am I creating these rules for myself? Why do I feel like I have to stick to that rule? You know, when I'm eating food, and this is what I do. When I eat food, I love sauces. I love having 3 or 4 different sauces. So I'll take one French fry, dip it in this sauce, eat half that French fry, then I'll dip it in a different sauce and I'll eat that, right? And yeah, I double dip because it's my house. I'll do what I want, right? And then I'll take another chip and I'll dip it in a different sauce again. So I love variety. Variety, for me personally, makes things exciting. So the biggest hack when I was journaling was, man, to get yourself more excited about reading, allow yourself to read in the same way you eat French fries. Allow yourself to read a little bit of that book, then a little bit of this book, then a little bit of that book, then a little bit of this book. Who cares about the damn rule of people saying, oh, you should read a book and then finish the book? No, I'm not going to. I'm a grown ass man. I can do what I want. And that's one of the things I'm going to do. And it's just made reading so exciting. And I've just been falling in love with the reading process. And some of you will get sick with this particular thing that I do. But sometimes I don't even read the first 5 chapters. I go straight into the chapter that I want to read. I just open a book and I go, which chapter looks interesting? And I just deep dive into the chapter that I like. And it just means that I can get straight to the thing that I really want to read, which then builds that habit of reading, which then also gets me excited about reading. And it's been such an amazing journey doing it in this way, as opposed to that rigid, rule-based chapter 1, then chapter 2, then chapter 3. It's one of the fastest ways to make me fall out of love with reading. Just thought I'd share that. That's been super fun. Let me just quickly check a couple of quick things. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. From the Myth Vision podcast, who are your top 3 speakers? Oh, this is such a weird one. Every time I say this, it feels super weird. But the 3 speakers that I love the most, that have had the most influence over me, they all have the same last name, but they're not related. It's so weird that it's turned out this way. The first one is one of my favorite magicians. His name is Darren Brown. He's from the UK. What I love about him, and I'm going to tell you why I love him as well. I love the way when he speaks, he sounds extremely sophisticated. And at the same time as he sounds sophisticated, he's super witty and humorous. So I love that about Darren Brown. Second one is Brené Brown. Love Brené Brown. And Brené Brown is an incredible speaker on resilience, shame, courage, etc. She's fantastic. Vulnerability. What I love about Brené the most is Brené has this wonderful way of speaking that makes you feel really cared for. So when she speaks, you don't feel like she's speaking at you. You feel like she's speaking to you. And instead of her, if I had to give you another analogy, instead of her being that type of leader that it feels like she's in front of you telling you where to go, or behind you telling where to go, she feels like that friend that's walking right next to you. And she does all of that through the way she sounds, and it's just beautiful. I love the way she sounds. So again, it's Darren Brown, number 1, Brené Brown, and then the final one is Les Brown. Les Brown's a motivational speaker, and love Les Brown because when you listen to Les Brown speak, he can fire you up. He can make you feel like you're about to run a marathon, right? And he can bring you to tears. So his ability to use his voice to make you feel when he's speaking is just elite. These are the 3 people that I absolutely look up to. And I like to think that if you took the 3 of them and they all kind of came together and made a human being, it'd be me. That's what I like to think anyway. So thank you for that question. Jumping back into the questions here. By the way, a lot of you are joining the masterclass. Super excited to have you join me. I'm running a free masterclass at the end of this week. And if you want to join it, if the times work for you, click the link in this live and you better join me. I'm running it for free. So can't wait to have you there. All right. I see some questions here. Oh, thank you, Russell. A lot of love to you, mate. Russell just said, hey, just want to say thanks for your videos and knowledge. It's helped me leaps and bounds in my career over the last year. Lots of love to you, mate. Appreciate you. All the way from Kansas City. I mean, I gave a big shout out to Kansas before this. Kansas has the best steaks, hands down, in all of America. Got to say it. Got to give credit where it's due. I had the best steak of my life there. Just a bit of shout out to someone from LinkedIn as well. Brené Brown is good. She's perfect to get into the friend mindset. Hey, sounds like you've done my content. Sounds like you've been through the Stage Academy. Congratulations. I can tell. Much love, my friend. Chaitanya. Much love, Chaitanya. Of course, Mel Robbins is another great one. Sharon, love Mel Robbins. I'm so lucky to be able to call Mel a friend. Mel's an amazing friend, and Mel actually just recommended me to one of the book publishers just recently. So, yeah, she's an incredible human. Love Mel. And yes, I do listen to Zig Ziglar. I've been listening to Zig Ziglar since I was quite young. When he talks about his redhead, his wife, he calls her a redhead because she's got red hair, obviously. Here we go. Question here from this one here. Question here from Muhammad. Thanks for joining from LinkedIn, Muhammad. Muhammad says, Vin, What was life like for you before you learnt your amazing communication skills? We're going to go there, Mohammed. You want to go there? Sure. Life before I was able to communicate well meant that I was often misunderstood. So I'd get into a lot of arguments with people, and people wouldn't really understand me. And because I couldn't communicate well, I didn't have the confidence to speak up. So when something would go wrong in a relationship, when something would go wrong in a friendship, I'd be conflict avoidant because I knew I wasn't good at conflict because I didn't have good communication skills. So because of that, I wouldn't really tell people how I feel often. And I would often just be a people pleaser, and I would please others a lot. I'd, just I don't want any trouble. I don't want any trouble. So we'll just do whatever you want to do. We'll just yeah, 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 sure, sure, sure. And as a result of that, I just became a massive people pleaser. I rarely stood up for myself. Even when I truly wanted something in a friendship or a relationship, I'd be too scared to ask because I didn't know how to ask. I didn't know how to ask in a way that allows me to maintain my pride, but at the same time be loving towards the other person. I didn't know that it was possible to be able to communicate, get your way, but at the same time benefit others. I just thought that the best way to benefit others is to purely just benefit other people and then just put yourself last. And then I started to resent people a lot after a while. So definitely that. I didn't know how to stand up for myself. A second thing was I'd miss out a lot on love, in relationships when I was dating. I didn't know how to shine. So I'd go on dates, and then as a result of not knowing what to say and how to capture their attention and how to build trust and rapport, you just don't get that second call back. They don't call you back, and you kind of go, oh no, they don't like me. I'm ugly. And then you just kind of go down that path. Another thing I would say is I'd miss out on a lot of career opportunities. Even as an entrepreneur, when I went to pitch my business, which later became successful, but when I initially went out to pitch my business, people didn't believe in me. People didn't believe in my ideas. So because I wasn't able to communicate effectively, A, they didn't believe in me, but B, what was sad was my ideas were sound. I had actually had really good ideas, but because I couldn't communicate, I couldn't bring those ideas to life. And then as a result of me not being able to bring those ideas to life and truly give them the life that they deserve, those ideas died with the opportunities, right? They just faded away. And it was such a shame, right? It was such a shame because I and again, I know I'm biased, but some of those ideas actually ultimately became successful. But in that moment when I was pitching that idea was only as good as I was able to communicate it. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to communicate well. And as a result, a lot of ideas kind of never came to life. And I think one more that I'll share, and it's that when I wasn't able to communicate well in my life, I didn't have a lot of deep relationships in my life. There was not a lot of depth. I had a lot of surface level relationships where it's kind of, hey, how's your day going? Yeah, good. How's your day? Yeah, it's good too. Been watching anything on Netflix lately? Yeah, I'd have. I watched this really cool show. How about you? Yeah, same old, same old. Okay, cool. And then that was it, right? I never got to those points in a relationship where I'm able to go, hey, what's one of the biggest dreams you want to achieve this year? Why do you want to achieve that dream? Why is it important to you? It's important to you for that reason. Okay. Do you remember an experience in your life that made you value that? Wow, that's so beautiful. That's amazing. So let me ask you a bold question then. My bold question I'm going to ask you is, what do you think your purpose is in this life? And I'm not afraid to have those conversations now, and I like to have those conversations now. Whereas before, I didn't know how to have them. And I didn't know that I could have such deep, nourishing relationships with the people around me. I used to just have a lot of shallow ones. So communication has given me depth. It's given me a lot of meaning. It's allowed me to shine really brightly in my career as an entrepreneur. It's allowed me to navigate really difficult conversations and allow me to stand up for myself and not be a doormat. But now I'm able to stand up for myself and go, hey, no, this is what I want in my life. This is what's really important to me. And I know what's important to you as well. I'm not going to be mean, but I want us to, as two adults, come to an agreement, right? So again, it's changed my life. It's completely changed my life. And I think that's one of the reasons why I teach it. I think I teach communication skills because it's changed my life. And it's kind of crazy because I think we tend to do the thing that we do in life that has brought us the most value, especially when it comes to teachers. I find that teachers who teach psychology, teachers who teach mathematics, teachers who teach life, for those out there who do life coaching, I find that we tend to teach the very thing that has brought about the most significant change in our own lives. And I'm teaching the thing that has changed my life because I don't know, I think the pairing of that just is wonderful. I think it's wonderful. So thank you for your insightful question, Mohammed. We went down a nice little rabbit hole there. Hello, Johnny. Hello. I love that picture of you playing the violin. You look like you're being very, very passionate. I like it. It's fantastic. Hello. Welcome to the live stream. Thanks for joining me. Just jumping back into the this here. Oh, thank you, Otto. Otto just joined my course. So thank you, Otto, for jumping onto my online course. Thank you. It's great to have you. Thank you. Awesome. Hey, Amanda, just a quick call out to this. Amanda says, my son doesn't communicate well. He's a massive introvert, and I'm hoping I can convince him to join your Stage Academy. Amanda, just a quick call out to you that your son's lucky to have you. You know, he's very lucky to have you as his mum. And I think that's the most beautiful thing about parenthood, right? I've begun my journey in parenthood. My son currently, Amanda, he's currently 6. And I'm also going to give myself a compliment and say that he's lucky to have me in his corner, but I'm also very lucky to have him in mine, right? But I think it's beautiful that you're thinking about your son in that way. And just know as well, Amanda, that communication skills are just a series of behaviors. And whether someone is introverted or extroverted, these behaviors can be learned. This is a learnable skill that anyone can learn. You know, so yeah, just want to give you some love and say, good on you. He's lucky to have you. Jumping back into the questions. And hey, we've got lots of people on this live stream across all platforms now. This is amazing. I don't think I've ever had this many people join me live. Look, quick shout out to all of you. Thank you for being a part of my journey. Thank you for being a part of my tribe. Thank you for spending time with me as we talk about communication skills or whatever you went in life. So if you've got a question, drop it down in the comment section. And for those of you who are new to my content, I'm running a 2-hour free masterclass later this week. If you do want to join me for that free masterclass, link is just in the descriptions. Just click it and join me. I'd love to have you. All right. Ngun's got a question here. Ngun says, hi, Vin. Can you share how to get interested in other people genuinely? Well, look, I think that everyone has an interesting story. Everyone does. And that's how I like to think of it. So when I meet with people, I always like to have in the back of my mind that I bet you that this person has one of the most fascinating stories in the world. And when I go into conversations like that, my mind then starts to go, okay, what questions can I ask to try to tease out that interesting story? And I've got a list of questions that I love asking people. And when I share this list of questions, it freaks people out because for some people, they're like, I can't ask that question. You may not feel comfortable asking that question, but I do, and I'm not afraid to ask it. So one of the questions I love to ask, especially if I'm in a situation where I'm sitting down having a meal and I'm sitting down with a few new people, then I love asking this question. What's the closest you've ever come to death? I love this because this normally in a group of 4 or 5 people, usually you get some super interesting stories. And I can tell you right now, those near-death stories, that intrigues me and gets me super interested. I love those stories just because it's so thrilling. It's so thrilling. And the number of stories I've heard from that, whew, super engaging. So Ngun, I would simply say to you, what are you interested in? Right? Think about some of the things you may be interested in. Think about some of the questions you could ask around those topics. And maybe that person has a story around that particular thing. Another one that I love is if you had to pick one lesson to share with the entire world, what would that lesson be? And when did you learn that lesson? Right? So I'm asking for what that lesson is, but I also ask when you learned that lesson because I want a story around it. I want a story around it too. So those are 2 of my bangers. Hopefully that helps you. Hey, Christy. Hello, Christy. Christy's joining the masterclass. Hey, Christy, I can't wait to see you in the masterclass later this week. Super pumped. We're getting the studio all ready to go. It's going to be a super exciting time. We're testing everything in the studio, making sure it's all working at the moment. Can't wait to see you there, Christy. And if you just joined the live stream, you want to join me for a masterclass, link is in the description. Click that and join us. It'll be great to have you. Jumping back into the questions. I'm going to go back to Christy for another question. She just asked, look at you, Christy. Love this. Christy just asked, what is the most interesting place you've visited? The most interesting place coincides with my favorite place in the world, and it's Queenstown, New Zealand. Oh, best place in the world. Do you know why? Besides the fact that they filmed Lord of the Rings there and The Hobbit, etc., and the fact that I was in Hobbiton and I visited the set where they filmed The Hobbit. Besides that, I mean, that was cool enough. I did a speech for the New Zealand Tourism Association, and they organized for my family and I to do this tour of Hobbiton, and amazing. But the most fascinating thing about New Zealand is you can drive for 15 minutes and be in snow-capped mountains. And then 15 minutes after that, you see beautiful greenery with streams that are running. And then 15 minutes after that, you're in barren land. And it feels like you're kind of half in a desert area. And then you drive another 15 minutes and you're in a city. It's just amazing how fast the landscape changes in New Zealand. Beautiful place, beautiful people. Just everything about it is just so wonderful. I love it. I love New Zealand. So that hands down is my favorite place. Yay, someone just seconded it. Amanda just said, I second that. Queenstown is incredible. Must be a fellow New Zealander or Aussie there. Hello, Amanda. I've highlighted your comment twice now. Hello, Amanda. Thanks for sticking around. Hey, we've got someone from New Zealand. Hello. Hello, Rivero. You live in an amazing place. Lucky you. I've got to visit there again. I can't wait. Oh, I got a question here. They're scrolling up pretty quickly. Here we go. Got a question here from Glenda. G'day, Glenda, joining us on Facebook. Glenda says, Vin, how do you manage nerves when you're not a regular public speaker? Glenda, there are many ways to manage nerves, but I can tell you right now, the number one underrated way to manage your nerves is breathing. It's what I'm doing right now. I just took a really deep breath, and boy, did it calm me down. And Glenda, I want you to try. Just try taking a really deep breath in. We'll do it together. Everyone on this live stream, let's just all take a nice deep breath together. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what we're going to do. We're going to breathe in for 4 counts. We're going to hold our breath for 4 counts, and then we're going to breathe out for 5 counts. Let's just do that once together. Okay, so we'll breathe in. So here we go. Breathing in. Man, that feels so good. That feels so good. Just doing that once feels so good. I don't know if you did it, but if you did it, tell me in the chat, how did you feel? Yeah, you're right. It's a Navy SEAL breathing technique. And the simple breathing technique is box breathing. You breathe in for 4 counts, you hold for 4 counts, you breathe out for 4 counts, and you hold for 4 counts, and then you just repeat that cycle over and over. Whenever I feel nervous, I just go into box breathing. And that's one of the breathing techniques that I use. And if I can't box breathe, when I'm feeling nervous, even in the moment when I'm talking to someone and I can feel the triggers coming on and I feel myself getting nervous, the sweaty armpits, sweaty palms, shallow breathing, I just start taking really deep breaths. Because you can breathe deeply while you're communicating. And by doing that, it just calms your whole mind and body down. It's one of the most underrated ways to be able to control your nerves. And people just don't do it. When they're feeling nervous, they just don't box breathe. They don't engage in this deeper way of breathing. They don't do it. And then they judge it. They go, no, it's too simple. It doesn't work. It's hands down the most effective way to control nerves. The most effective way. And I think another way to give you a psychological method as well is to understand that people want you to succeed. When you're delivering a presentation and you're on stage, no one's sitting there. There's actually no one sitting there thinking, I can't wait until Glenda fails No one's thinking that. People are thinking, "Oh, I can't wait to learn from the next speaker. I can't wait to be able to extract some wisdom from this next person." People are actually sitting there wanting you to succeed, because if you succeed, they succeed, right? If you go up on stage and you bomb, that means no one gets anything out of it. Whereas I used to think a lot, "Oh, the audience is there to get me. They're out to get me." No, no, no. Once I reframed it and realized, hey, actually, the audience and me are on the same side. They want me to succeed. It kind of changed how I went into these public speaking sessions. I love this question. Best icebreaker of all time, a story. Learning how to storytell is easily one of the best icebreakers of all time. For example, I'll give you an example now. Here's one of my go-to icebreakers when I'm on a call with some new clients, right? And some people think, "Oh, you can't do this on a client call, Vin. You can't." I'm like, "Well, yes, I can. I'm comfortable doing it, so I can." It's not comfortable for you. That's why you may not do it, but it's comfortable for me. So last week I jumped on a call with some new clients of mine, and when we jumped on the call, I jumped on and imagine we were on a Zoom call. And we jumped on. I went, "Hey, good to meet you, everyone. Hey, I'd love us to go around and share a quick story and just connect before we start the conversation. Is that okay?" And then everyone got a minute, right? So everyone got a minute to share a story. And here's the story I shared. I said, "Hey, my son's birthday is coming up, and when we were thinking about naming my son, do you know what name we came up with? We came up with the name Axel. And we checked with my father-in-law, and my father-in-law is Malaysian, so it's got a bit of an accent. So when we checked with him, we're like, "Dad, what do you think of the name Axel?" My father-in-law goes, "Okay, how do I say the name?" I'm like, "Axel." And he goes, "Okay, the X-hole." What the hell? You want to name your boy the X-hole? So we couldn't name him Axel. We named my son Xander instead. And then the people on the call were all laughing. Everyone was laughing, having a good time, and ultimate icebreaker, ultimate icebreaker. And then I can tell you now that that phone call went amazing. The rapport that was present, everyone was laughing, everyone was having a good time. And now we're able to have a business call on the foundation of connection and rapport. Whereas think about how most people jump onto a virtual call. Most people jump into a call and imagine this, they go, "Hi, everyone. Thanks for jumping onto the call. Look, the agenda that we're going to go through today is first, we're going to talk about our arrangement that we're going to be going through together over the next 12 months. We'll first look at the first quarter of the..." It's so boring. It's so boring because people think that's how things are meant to go. No, sure. Sometimes meetings should go like that, but holy cow. Spare 3 minutes and share stories with each other. Deepen the connection that you feel. Have the meeting on the foundation of connection, not just bland, awful, generic, monotonous Zoom calls. Don't do that. Don't do that to people. Don't. This is why communication is so powerful, right? Okay. Storytelling. That's the greatest icebreaker of all time. All right. Look, everyone. Thank you for I love that. Look at that. Another shout out for you, Christy. I love that. Christy's like laughing my ass off. It is a great story. Look, everyone. I just wanted to say thank you for joining me for this live. We've been on this live nearly an hour. I've got to jump back to my work day and get some work done. I really appreciate you being a part of my journey. Thank you for the love. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for sharing. I feel like I have to say that to be a YouTuber. So thank you for all of the good stuff. Whenever you do like my videos, whenever you do share my videos, you're actually helping me create a ripple out there in the world. And I want to be a positive impact. I want to make a positive impact in this world. And every time you engage with my content, you're helping me go an extra layer with an extra ripple. So I wanted to say thank you, because without you, I wouldn't be able to have the impact that I have. I wouldn't be able to radiate that impact with the greater world. So just a big thank you from me and my team. Thank you for being wonderful supporters of what I do. And last call out, if you want to join me for a 2-hour masterclass, I'm running it free at the end of this week. Just make sure you click the link in the description and I will see you then. We're going to spend 2 full hours together. You're totally going to get sick of me by that point. See you then. Take care. Bye for now.